what it did. Now, let's back up a little bit. I'm going to use undo. Now, there's a little button just off to the right of the horizontal and vertical size, and it looks like a little padlock, and it's right here. Now, that should be locked. Now, if you unlock it when you left click on it, let's do the exact same thing we just did, except the only difference is I've unlocked this button. I'm going to type in 6 on the keyboard and press enter. Now see what happened. The only thing that changed was the width. This little button here is what they call the non-proportional scaling ratio. In other words, if you want to make it 6 inches wide and that's it, then you have to unlock this button here, and you can make it as wide or as tall as you want by custom. Now I can come in and type in 3 inches tall by just highlighting, typing in 3, and pressing enter on the keyboard. So remember, if you're trying to make it a custom size, you can also do it by clicking and dragging, and watch these numbers jump as I drag it up. But sometimes it's tough to dial it right in on the number that you need. See, like right there, 5.02. Now that may not be super crucial, but it's a whole lot quicker and a whole lot easier to just come in here and type in 4 inches, 5 inches. Okay? So the other thing we can do is, let's go ahead and take this back down to, let's say, 2 inches tall. Now, the other tool I want to talk about in the property bar here is this is the angle of rotation. Now, you know it because it shows a line going around counterclockwise, and it should say 0.0, and when you put the cursor on it, of course, it says angle of rotation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and highlight that, and I'm going to type in 90. And if you notice, it's 90 degrees. So when I hit enter on the keyboard, I just adjusted it 90 degrees. So you can rotate the objects you have with this angle of rotation button. Now if I want to take it back to where it was, I'll just type 0 and then enter. Now you can also manually rotate it by, when I'm going to click off in the white space intentionally, I'm going to click on it one time to select it, click on it a second time, not a double click, but the second click will give you these little arrows. Now these arrows, you can use it to skew. Okay, and I'm just going to hit undo to back up, just showing you what it does. Skew it, distort it a little bit, give it a little perspective, undo. Or I can grab the corner and rotate it. Now it rotates around, I don't know if you can see it. I'll give it a color that you can see. There's yellow. Now there's a little dot right in the middle. This is the center point of rotation. Okay, so when I rotate something, it rotates around this little dot, which by default is going to be at the center. So if I rotate it the way it is right now, it just kind of rotates around that center point. But if I change that center point by left clicking on it and dragging it over here to the corner and dropping it, now when I rotate it, watch what happens. Okay, that'll come in handy later on. So you can play around with that. You can actually bring it completely off and out of the object and watch it rotate around that point. So depending on where you move this center point of rotation, you put it back in the center, and that's the way it's going to rotate around. Okay, so we're going to come back to that. Right now I'm going to click on undo, undo, until I get back to where I want to be. Undo. Now this will remember up to 99 moves, but you don't want to have it set up for 99. We're going to go into kind of the under the hood area in Corel here in just a little while. But when I click on an object, this is where you would rotate it. There's some other things in here you can convert to curves. For example, if I click on the, if you have an object over here in your toolbar that has a little black triangle on it, when you click and hold it, you should get a little fly out. Now I'm coming back to I know we haven't talked about the toolbar yet, but I'm coming back to get a tool that's going to show you how to manipulate this just a little bit. And I'm clicking on the shape tool. Now again, you hold the little black triangle button down and you get additional tools. And what I just did was I had the eraser tool selected, but I don't want to use the eraser tool. I want to click and hold until I get the shape tool, which is the first one. Left click on it. So now, instead of selecting this rectangle object with my pick tool, I have it selected but with the shape tool. And you notice it looks a little different. You don't have all the nodes around it like you do before. And if you click on one of the nodes and pull, see how it rounds off the corners. Now I could keep pulling until it almost completely rounds out to an ellipse. Now with a perfect square, you could just about make it a circle. Or you can make it a circle. But if you needed an object that was rectangular in shape but with rounded corners, that's one way of doing it. But the problem is when you click on that object with the shape tool, you can't click on those nodes and drag them out and really do anything with it. So what you have to do is, I'm going to go back to the pick tool. Now another tool up here in the property bar is the convert to curves, or the shortcut is, it says Control Q. Now you can also do this by going to Arrange and Convert, right here, Convert to Curves.